What is a good conversion rate for my Teachers Pay Teachers products? This is a question a lot of TPT sellers ask pretty early on in their business. The bad news is there's no clear-cut answer to this question, but the good news is it's probably a lot less than you think. Hello everyone, my name is Sherry from Rolling Acres Education. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if this is not your first time. And today we're talking conversion rates. And the first thing I want you to realize is there are actually three types of conversion rates you should be paying attention to in your Teachers Pay Teachers store. Number one is your overall conversion rate, and that's your views to sold conversion rate. Number two is your views to previews conversion rate. And number three is your previews to sold conversion rate. And you need to really pay attention to those last two when it comes to making decisions about how to improve your products. But today we're just going to talk about overall conversion rates. I like to keep my videos short, so we're going to talk about the other two in another video. Now, what is an overall conversion rate? It is the number of products you sold divided by the number of views that product has had. Every time someone clicks on your cover, your product registers a view. There are a lot of reasons someone might click on your product and not purchase it that has nothing to do with your product itself. It might be that they clicked on it accidentally. I've done that. It might be that they're kind of not sure what it is, so they click on it. Oh, that's not what I thought it was. It might be someone doing market research, which is perfectly fine. And it might be someone who's viewed it before and they're just viewed it a few times to make sure it's what they want. So conversion rates can be really low and still be considered a good conversion rate. Now, before we get into specifics about conversion rates, I want to give you some things that will affect your conversion rate, because what's considered a good conversion rate is a pretty broad, somewhat broad number, and these things can help you decide where you should fall in that range of numbers. And so the first thing that can affect your conversion rate is your number of views. If you have not been on Teachers Pay Teachers very long, or your product hasn't been, and you don't have very many views, that conversion rate is kind of unreliable and is probably going to be a little higher than it's going to be in the long run. So, some people say, oh, don't pay attention till 500 views. I don't agree. I wouldn't make any major changes till 500 views. But from, after about 150, 200 views, you can kind of get an idea of whether or not it's going to be a good conversion rate. Not necessarily what the conversion rate is going to be, but if it's looking like it's going to be a pretty good conversion rate, you probably don't want to mess with it just yet. Then the other thing is, or the second thing is the price of your product. A lower price product is going to convert at a higher rate than a higher price product, which is fine because you don't have to sell as many of those, okay? And that one just makes sense. The higher priced your product, the lower your conversion rate is probably going to be. And number three, this is one I don't hear a lot talked about, but I do think it makes a huge difference in your conversion rates. And that is the type of product you sell. Now, I sell seasonal products and my conversion rates are high, and here's one reason I think that's so. When people go to look at my products, they're seasonal, they're sub-plans, let's be honest, they don't really care, okay? They don't care about the standard, they don't care about a lot of things other than I've got to have these kids engaged. I want them to learn something, but I really don't care what it is, and I want my sub to have an easy time, and I just want them to stay busy and engaged and learning something. So they might click on my product and think, oh, looks good, and buy it. Whereas if you're doing something very standards-based, let's say genetics and heredity, or maybe high school algebra, or fifth grade math, decimals, something that's very specific, a teacher might go in there and you may have a very good quality product, but it's not exactly what they're looking for. Maybe yours is an introductory resource and they're looking for practice problems. So they're not as likely, you're going to have people thinking more about whether or not to buy your product. So they might look at it real closely and realize, you know what, it's a good product, but it's not what I need right now. Whereas mine's like, yep, it's good, it'll do it, let's go. Okay, so that definitely is going to affect your conversion rate. And the last one is competition. If yours is in a niche where there's a lot of competition, you might have someone looking at several different products that are all good, and so there's a less chance that they're going to buy yours. Whereas if you're doing something like high school physics, high school algebra, you might not have as many people making your type of resource, and they might only have one or two to choose between, and so you're going to convert at a higher rate. So number of views, the price of your product, the general versus specific kind of thing of your product, and the competitiveness are all going to affect your conversion rates. Now, a lower conversion rate doesn't mean lower income. And I can tell you this because there's a lady on here who started her store almost exactly the same day I did. And my conversion rates are better than hers, but her sales are better than mine. There's all kinds of reasons why a lower conversion rate might translate into higher sales. And one is, of course, the price, but I think there's some others, but maybe we'll talk about that in another video. But you just need to know that those things will affect your conversion rate. So what is a good conversion rate? I've read, I didn't come up with this on my own. I researched it. I've read blogs. I have watched YouTube videos. I've read on Teachers Pay Teachers site. I have just, listened to people, and what I hear is anything from 3% to 10% can be a good conversion rate based on those things we just talked about. If all four of those things are in your favor, you haven't been on very long, you have a lower priced product, it's very general, a lot of people are interested in it and they really don't care, and it's in a lower competitive niche, you're going to want to shoot for those higher conversion rates. I think mine should be 7 to 10. Actually, if mine aren't 10%, I feel like they need work. If you're in, those things are going against you, you're going to be towards the lower end of that conversion rate, and a 4% conversion rate might be very, very good for you. As a matter of fact, I've seen people who have like very large bundles, or maybe year-round, like it's an entire year's curriculum, and like they're way up there. Entire year's curriculum can be $200-300, and so a 1% conversion rate might be really good on something like that. So the main thing you need to know is your conversion rate is not just about the quality of your product, it's about the type of product, the price of your product, and all those. So use that to kind of get a general idea of where you should be on that range. And also remember, conversion rates are not to compare yourself to others. They're for you to look within your store. And for instance, if you have a product line that's got several products in it, and for the most part they're converting at 6 to 7%, but you've got this one that's maybe 2 or 3, you want to look at that product and say, okay, what is different about this one? Why is it not converting at the same rate as the others? Not as other people, but others in that product line. Or maybe you've got one and most of them are at 6 to 7%, and you got this one is at like 12 or 13. What is it about that? You might not get them up to 12 or 13, but there might be something about that product that can get them higher. So this is for you to look within your niche or your products to decide where should mine be, and kind of trying to get them all to that conversion rate, not other people's conversion rates. Now, what can you do to a product to increase the overall conversion rate? That's for the next video. We're going to look at the other 2 conversion rates that will give you some specifics as to what you can do to help change your overall conversion rate. So come back for that one. Just remember, conversion rates are about your products and not other people's. Remember that you've got this, God's got you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.